AITA for making my stepson choose between therapy or living with his dad after what he's done. My stepson, Aaron, 17, has always been a jokester. First his jokes were funny, but he then started using others' identities to start drama in family and friends. For example, he once texted his cousin's phone with a flirty text and his cousin's girlfriend saw it and it got messy. He texted his uncle pretending to be his son's friend and lied about his son being in an accident. It was awful. I tried doing something about it, but everyone would say he's adapting. It's normal teenager behavior. He'll grow out of it. Even blamed his dad, saying he is a jokester himself, so it's a trait in his DNA. I tried to get an explanation out of him and he'd say stuff like, "Dude, like, it's kinda fun." Which made no sense. My final straw was days ago when I was at work and I received a text via my pregnant wife's phone, telling me her water broke and told me to meet her at XXX hospital. I drove for 1.5 hours and called her family and we went there. We were shocked to know my wife never came to the hospital. I called her phone then went home. When I got there I found out my wife was actually napping like she does usually and Aaron coming downstairs laughing at my face and my in-laws' faces. I yelled at him when he said he got me fooled by taking my wife's phone and texting me about her going into labor. He asked, "OMFG, did you literally drive to the freaking hospital?" Quote. My wife said nothing. I decided I had it. I told him I was sick of his games and he's two options: therapy to fix his issues or no longer living in my house. He complained about it being his dad's idea, but it was obvious blame shifting. He went upstairs calling me names. My wife tried to calm me down, but my blood pressure, I have chronic disease, was up and I was shaking. My in-laws said I was too harsh and went too far with my ultimatum. I declined to back down because I think I won't be able to take it more. I apparently made them more upset than what Aaron did and said I have to forgive him and drop it. But I couldn't. Thing is, Aaron is 100% against therapy and has a pretty bad idea of it. He associates it to his parents divorcing and is making it his hill to die on and says no one will force him to get therapy since he thinks it's a waste of time trying to change his personality. About his bio dad. I've discussed this behavior with him and his response was that I was being bossy and controlling. His opinion about therapy was that I'm attempting to brainwash, change Aaron's personality and control what he says and how he behaves to get him on my side, especially since Aaron doesn't see me as a father figure to him. Of course, none of his claims are true. He even told me to my face that Aaron can do whatever he wants whenever he pleases and it's none of my concern. But I was trying to keep communication open, otherwise I'd be accused of enforcing my own thoughts, decisions without Aaron's dad's input. NTA. It seems, though, what you've got is an in-law problem. Aaron is never going to change when all the adults around him justify his behavior. This one should have been the last straw for everyone. And yet they acted like it was just a funny joke. You upended your entire day. Drove 1.5 hours one way. Missed work. And instead of an apology you were laughed at and berated. Yet here you are, being told you're wrong for not immediately bowing to his joke. Stay steadfast in your decision here. And if you're ostracized, maybe it's time to take a break and co-parent your new child away from this environment. NTA. At all. What he's doing is dangerous. NTA. That's not normal teenage behavior. He's deliberately doing things to hurt his own family just because it's fun. NTA. This sounds like it has been a long time in coming. And your wife and your in-laws may need to step up before one of Aaron's jokes land him in Serious trouble. NTA, those aren't jokes and it's not a phase. It appears that everyone is enabling this behavior. You are right that he needs therapy. He can go live with his in-laws if they don't think it's an issue and they can deal with it. NTA. Your stepson is 17 not 7 and if he doesn't know the difference between right and wrong at this age, you are well within your rights to not want to associate with him. Honestly, given the lack of parenting from his mother, I would question my decision to have children with a woman who will not help or discipline her son. NTA. If he finds funny jeopardizing your job, an income that feeds him, or making someone believe that X person got into an accident, he's not okay. At 17 you know better than to find those things funny, and thus is not behavior that should be brushed off. I'd suggest therapy because he's 17 and not mature enough for his age. He's nearing an age where he should be able to function at a job, college, etc., and I doubt he will. NTA. He doesn't see how harmful his jokes have become, or the danger it could possibly put others in. Say your wife's water actually broke or she fell and you were an hour and so away at the hospital because of his joke. Your wife needed to step up here and she has failed also. She letting him get away with his behavior. Therapy was a great idea, but he clearly is not open to it, so yeah, I'd send him to his father's too. Funny how it's not so fun anymore to actually face the consequences of his actions. Pranks are pranks when everyone ends up laughing. Are you seriously comfortable bringing a vulnerable newborn into that environment? I wouldn't. NTA. NTA. Despite your understandable anger at him for this situation, these options are highly reasonable for a 17-year-old. He will be a legal adult in less than a year. That therapy could help keep him out of real-world trouble in the near future. Living with his dad would at least make it less of your responsibility. NTA. Aaron needs to have consequences. NTA. His behavior sounds like a 13-year-old. Immature and not at all funny. He needs some therapy and the family needs to back off defending his idiotic behavior. Like others have mentioned, these aren't pranks. There are consequences to your actions. No matter what action, big or small. Normally I think along the lines of that 3 strikes, at least one warning of what the consequences are. If you continue ABC, then XYZ will happen next time. But sometimes the consequences need to be immediate. If your wife had truly been in trouble and you assumed it was a prank, you'd be the bad guy too. You can't win. This is never going to be fixed without your spouse's support though. As you've seen, your spouse and in-laws are already saying you're overreacting. You need to have a serious conversation with your partner and come to an agreement as a unified front on how to deal with this. NTA. Wife is in denial about this though. Your stepson is going to play a joke on the wrong person one day. NTA. Your stepson is a sociopath. Those aren't jokes. They're mean-spirited. 17 is beyond old enough to know what he's doing. Plus, if you do have a chronic BP disorder, those awful pranks could kill you at this rate. He complained about it being his dad's idea, but it was obvious blame shifting. Info. Are you positive your wife's ex doesn't have a hand in this? If he's trying to alienate Aaron from his mother, encouraging him to prank you in this way could just be a part of driving that wedge between his son and his ex. NTA. If this is what he's doing now, think of what he'll do when the baby is born. He needs to be held accountable for his actions. NTA. He's causing drama as pranks, thinking it's funny. How funny would it be if someone ended up actually suffering for one of his pranks, such as an accident, or his cousin's girlfriend really believed the text and broke up with him? And I doubt everyone agrees that he's just being a teen. Make this your hill to die on. One of these days his prank is going to hurt someone, physically or emotionally, and it will be his fault. What if he lies telling you your wife is having the baby and sends you to the wrong hospital, or lies and you don't believe the text and end up missing your child's birth? You need to sit down with everyone and tell them you can't tolerate his behavior, and worse, everyone enabling him. This is impacting you as well. You left work for a prank. How will your boss feel when you tell him it was a false alarm? He's putting your career in jeopardy as well. NTA. A joke or prank would be a fake spider or a bucket of water splashed on you. Innocent ha-has. Not a medical emergency or a way to break up a relationship. Things that cause that type of panic or drama are not funny for anyone involved. He needs to learn there are consequences for his actions. NTA. But you have a wife problem as much as a stepson problem. Is she just sweeping this all under the rug? What does she think about therapy? I can see the son being scared because a new baby means he's no longer the only child. But it sounds like she coddles him as an apology for the divorce. Perhaps start with family therapy, because there's a lot more going on here than the pranks.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.